Okay, if you watched the last video where I gave a demonstration of speaking the level 0 English dialect of Pont, you probably noticed that all it is adding ow at the end of every word. This is much less painful than it sounds. Ow, by the way, in this case is spelled apostrophe AW. Regardless of the language involved in generating the dialect, and it is a generated dialect, very directly generated dialect actually at level 0. Regardless of which language it is, the spelling is the same, apostrophe AW. If it needs to be typed in other characters, I have I have no way of controlling what people are going to need to do. So, you know, if you want to work on learning the level 0 um, of any particular language dialect of Pont, if you have a better way of spelling, then you know, do what you have to. But keep in mind that this apostrophe AW is part of a phonetic spelling system that extends into higher levels of the dialect and of the language itself. So the apostrophe is to signify that spelling rules are switching into Pont phonetics. Before that is a little ambiguous in a sense, and I'll explain that. Uh, if if you're at level 0, level 1, if you're at a low level, um, then the part before that is going to be in the dialect, in the language that the dialect is derived from, and unless of course it is followed by a hyphen. So if you have a word built of a part of a word, a hyphen, another part of a word, an apostrophe, and a third part of the word, the part before the hyphen is pronounced with Pont phonetics. The part after the hyphen before the apostrophe is pronounced in the dialectual language, in this case English, and the part after the apostrophe is again pronounced with Pont phonetics, or sounded out through Pont phonetics. So, for example, if I wanted to say the opposite of a car, whatever that might happen to be, as a single word, just as mal auto is the opposite of a car in Esperanto, whatever the opposite of a car might be. I've avoided using the mal prefix for the simple matter of fact that in Spanish, which I'm fluent in, and I understand in other languages I've come across, I can't recall exactly which ones, mal has a connotation of being a bad thing. And so I've decided to use anti as the opposite of, anti being the equivalent of the English anti. So anti-caro would be an anti-car. The O on the end is to signify that it's a noun, and this gets up into level 2 of Pont, which you know I'm going to try to avoid getting into too much detail of that just yet. But also level 1, at level 1, caro is car. And if I want to speak in level 1, I would put an ending on at least most of the words, in addition to whatever ending the word already has, if it has one. The endings would not be stripped off. So I'm not removing anything from the English, and part of this comes from the fact that it's meant to work both ways, that someone can learn English from Pont. So once they've worked their way up Pont far enough in any dialect to be able to exchange information with somebody who speaks another dialect, then they can start to share vocabulary with each other. And this is what I was talking about in an earlier video about languages breeding with each other. This is what gives Pont the ability to breed with other languages, as it were. And again, back to the reference of the simulation gene pool, which you can find at swimbots.com. I believe the site should still be up. It's made by Jeffrey Ventrella. In Gene Pool, and I have talked with Jeffrey about this. I have tried to talk him into adding speciation, but it has none. So every swimbot in Gene Pool has the capability to breed with any other swimbot in Gene Pool. And if you have a large population of two completely different kinds of swimbots in Gene Pool, eventually they will merge and become one kind of swimbots. Almost 100%, almost all of them, in most cases. If you have 30 different kinds that there are quite a few of, eventually they're going to merge together, and you can go out of your way to separate them. You can put walls between them and stuff like that. You can raise them in separate instances of gene pool, where you have, maybe one running in one window, one running in another window, and they can't interact with each other, which sort of simulates speciation. I've done that rather extensively as a way of testing this kind of theory of just what happens. And once you've raised a large population of each, you can place a substantial number of each kind in the same pool together. And because they have the capability of all breeding with each other, eventually their genetic traits will be shared to the point where there will be basically one survivor. And now to the Esperanto community out there, I would like to say I do not want to alienate the Esperanto community. People that don't know what that is, Esperanto is a language that was designed for the purpose of giving us a universal second language so that people could learn to communicate with each other across language boundaries without having to replace their first language. So I have specifically for that reason designed Pont around Esperanto, and it is very likely, if Pont becomes extremely popular, that it will have the result of helping Esperanto to reach its goals. It may someday replace Esperanto. I have not designed it for that purpose. I am not planning on it doing that, and if it does, it will be an evolved version of it, which has borrowed even more from Esperanto and from other languages by that point in time. But I'll get into more of that in the next video. For now, I just wanted to say a little about how the language breeding process works and what it's all about. If you get up at least as far as level 2, preferably at least as far as level 3 of Pont, you'll be sharing a lot of things in common with people who speak other language dialects of Pont. And even though the vocabulary is extremely different, there will be a tendency to be able to understand each other much more quickly. Also, even at level 0, the ow ending added at the end of every word doesn't do anything for a native English speaker hearing that, because they already know where all the English words end. In rare instances, it might make something ambiguous a little clearer, but basically it's more of an exercise for the doing. Listening might be worthwhile, just like also for practice. But for someone who does not know English, listening to level 0 of Pont in the English dialect, it would be immediately clear. If they knew that ow meant the end of a word, it would be immediately clear where each word ends. And if they have learned level 0 of Pont in their own language dialect, then they would know that. So right away it gives them some clue as to how to start deciphering English. And this is the same for an English speaker wanting to learn Spanish or French or anything else. If they can hear the Pont dialect of that language at any level, it will give them information that will help them to learn that language. Okay, I'm going to stop this and talk to you in the next video.